Hello. Today I want to talk about a serious subject. I want to talk about DV, and if you know what that means, then that thing has an impact somewhere in your life, and I'm sorry. DV, for those who don't know, it means domestic violence, which is a really serious thing. It's a crime. It's abuse. Classically, we think of men abusing their female partners, but that's not always the case. So to start with, let's look at what abuse is. For start, number one, it's the obvious physical violence, hitting, pushing around, leaving you bruised, and or broken bones. And in extreme cases, it can be fatal. The other kinds of abuse, which I think are classed as domestic abuse, is excuse me, clear my throat a bit. Financial. If your partner is controlling your life by money, controlling the money, right? Financial abuse. Psychological abuse and or emotional abuse. I don't know if those two sort of go together a bit. There might be other kinds of abuse that I'm missing, but those are the main ones which spring to mind. Just any kind of control which your partner has on your life, or someone you know, quite possibly. You might not even know about it. And it's not always males and females. It can happen in any romantic relationship, and if it's happening, the relationship obviously isn't very loving or romantic, if it ever was. I'll clear my throat again. Women can do it to their male partners. That does happen. And also, it's not limited to heterosexual relationships. It can happen in gay male relationships and lesbian female relationships. Any relationship, it has the potential for that to happen. And if you're in a relationship that's abusive, get out. That's the only advice I can give you and anyone else. And someone in an abusive relationship, you feel trapped and helpless and just in a really bad place. You're controlled because your partner is insecure or just sadistic, bad person, and they do that to you to make themselves feel better. I'm just trying to have a think for a minute. We covered what abuse is, and it can happen in any relationship. If you're in one of those relationships and you're the victim, hopefully you know about it. Even relationships in the early stages, if there's any kind of red flags going up in your head that the relationship is wrong somehow, or your partner is just wrong, controlling, even in the mildest way, once your relationship advances, if it advances, it can get worse, and it does. So any kind of red flags going up early on in your relationship, get out, dump him, her, leave them now. Don't wait for it to get worse if it's going to, because it quite possibly will. And then you'll be trapped, and you'll wish you'd got out earlier, and you'll think, well, I can't get out now because, all the reasons which you might think of. So, that's all anyone. That's all people say to somebody in an abusive relationship, get out, and they don't understand why they stay. But love can be a big part of it. Somebody in an abusive relationship has the victim. It's quite possible they already have issues. Obviously the abuser has a whole host of issues of their own, but the victim has issues. It's quite possible the background they were raised in has something to do with it. They have low confidence. It can be nothing to do in the background. They might just have low confidence, you know, and or they feel safe in an abusive relationship because of how they grew up. Not necessarily grew up with abuse as a child, but they didn't have quite a healthy home life, so it feels safe and it feels like home to them. So they stay, even though it's scary and horrible and quite possibly terribly violent. They stay, even though they probably want to get out, or perhaps to some extent they don't. But I'm probably getting off track a bit. And that's all anybody, if you're not in an abusive relationship, but if you knew someone who was, that was all you could say to them, just get out, you know. Or if you're a friend with someone that you know or suspect is in that place, you can say to them, I'm here for you, which you probably already have done. You know, you need to get out of that relationship as soon as possible. But if the control is financial, that is perhaps the hardest, because then you feel trapped and you don't have any money to leave. So if you're in the UK, there's some helplines, there's some phone numbers I can give you. I mean, if you search online, you can probably find these out anyway, but maybe you don't have the chance to. The Samaritans is a good advice helpline. In Britain, the phone number is 0845 79 09 090, and they will give you impartial advice, or just listen to you. You know, you can cry down the phone at them and tell them all your problems, and they will listen. And also the National Domestic Violence Helpline, and again in Britain, 0808 2000 247, or if you're a man in an abusive relationship and you're the victim, okay, it's not exclusive to being abused. There's a men's advice helpline, okay, 0808 8010 327. And obviously, if it's an emergency and your partner's beating you, and or you feel like it's a life or death situation, or something extreme along those lines, and you're able to dial 999, obviously that's a given, because you need that help and support now. I don't know if there's any helplines I've missed out. It's quite possible there is. And if you're the abuser, and you know you are, you can get help too. It's not limited to the victims. I don't know about helplines, but the issues that you have which are making you be abusive, you can get help for those if you really want to. It can be if you're low in confidence, insecure, you have a alcohol and or drug problem, or something else which I've not thought of, which is contributing to this abusive behaviour. Go and see your GP. You don't have to say I'm an abuser, okay? You can just say I have these problems and I want some help. You can ask for counselling. What's the other word I was trying to think of? It means pretty much the same thing, isn't it? You can go to your doctor and say I have an alcohol problem and I want to get help, or I have confidence issues. Can you help me? GPs either know or can find out all these all these things, and they can refer you to the right place to get help. Excuse me. So the help is out there for you if you want it. Hopefully, if you're an abuser, you feel bad about it and you want to get help, and it's out there. It's never too late to get help or to change. There's nothing weak or wrong about asking for help. It's the right thing to do if you need it. Just ask and it will be given. No judgment. Necessarily, excuse me. And if you're an abuser and you know about it and you don't care and you want help and you're enjoying it, okay, fuck you. Karma is a bitch, and one day it's going to bite you in the ass. So you could spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder waiting for what you'd be giving out to come back at you, and you're still not going to see it coming, okay? So So, and also if your relationship is not healthy, but it's not gone to an extreme point where there's no going back, and you want to save and you truly love your partner, but you have issues and it's just not right, you can go to Relate. The phone number for them in the UK again is 0300 100 12 34, and they will give you relationship advice, counselling to hopefully get you back in the right place where all relationships should be happy and loving and supportive. Excuse me, I don't know why I've got doing that. So Relate. Obviously, if you're the abuser, you will have no problem motivating your partner to accompany you. But if you're the victim, and you're too scared to broach the subject with your partner, it's quite possible it's gone beyond the point where Relate can help you. But if it hasn't, and you think you can talk to your partner about the prospect of going to Relate and they won't react in a really bad way, then do it, and you might be able to get them to go with you, and you can get your relationship back to the place where it should be. But if you can't do that, it's past the point of no return. Your relationship is an abuser victim one, and it's never going to be any different, so get out, okay? I've been saying that all the way through. So, I think I've covered everything. I just really want to help. So, this is me trying to help, giving you advice. But, obviously, I think I said this at the start. If you're in an abusive relationship, you don't need me to help you tick those boxes. The red flags have already gone up, I would hope anyway, and you know about it anyway. So, just the best advice I can say is get out. There is help. There is a service I've missed, isn't there? It's for women, and to do with domestic violence. Whereas if you leave your partner, they will put you up in sheltered housing, and your partner won't know where to find you. Hopefully, if that sounds familiar to you, then you know the service I'm talking about. I just can't remember the name right now. So you can leave and you can go there. Obviously, you need to know where to go. And my mind has failed me right now. I can't remember what the service is, but I know it exists. But it is for women. Something I missed off the abuse as well, in the physical category, is rape. If your partner's forcing you to have sex and you don't want to, or do anything like that, and you don't want to do it, then that's rape. If it's not penetration, then it's still sexual abuse. I missed that out, didn't I? And if you're talking a gay relationship, female, obviously it's hard for lots of people to imagine, well, how can rape happen there? Well, the abusive partner could pick up any inanimate object of their choosing and use it to violate. And the same probably goes for female on male abuse. If the woman abused it is that sadistic, she's whatever motivates them to do it, she could pick up any inanimate object that could be used for that and violate him. So I think I've pretty much covered everything now. So there's not much else to say, is there? I hope you found this helpful and informative, and the help is out there for you if you want it. Okay. God bless. Goodbye.